New breed, global truth.
Francis this morning after his death at the age of 88. Let's give you a live look at St. Peter's Square this morning, where crowds are gathering as the world mourns the loss of the Pope on this Easter Monday. Good morning. Thank you for joining us here today. I'm Alex Maragos. Marian is off today. We have complete coverage of the death of Pope Francis. This is an expanded one-hour newscast for you this morning. From the Vatican to right here in Chicago, we're covering every angle for you with live team coverage today. Marianne Ahern and Chuck Gowdy will join me here in the studio as we're reflecting on the Pope's life, his legacy, and also what comes next from here. Lisa Chavarria is going to start us off. She's live at Holy Name Cathedral, where she's covering the first Mass that'll be happening there since the Pope's death overnight Chicago time. We also have Sandra Torres live in Des Plaines at the Shrine of Our Lady of Guadalupe. And Telemundo Chicago's Jorge de Santiago is live in Pilsen with the loss of the first Latin American Pope. We're going to start here first with Marianne Ahern's look back at the life of Pope Francis.
Franciscum.
Jorge Bergoglio was chosen to be Pope in March 2013, taking the name Francis. The son of Italian parents, he was raised in Argentina.
What's going on, everybody? It's your brother New Breed coming through with another live stream. And it's time to get some edification. We're talking about the death of Pope Francis. And we're going to get educated on the ritual that was conducted on Easter, right? Now, in this particular broadcast, you're going to grow an understanding of tradition when it comes to the Roman Catholic Church. You're going to understand how demonic and satanic the whole church is, right? But before we get into it, welcome everybody. I see Manny's in the building, Natasha, Nicole, Sticky Finger. I see Mr. Authentic in the building. What's going on? Latrine Hollins. Yes. I'm glad y'all catching another broadcast. Breezy, what's happening? Grace Hill. Charles Brown's in the building. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this one's going to be a master class on a collegiate level. You're going to understand what's happening spiritually. You're going to grow a greater understanding of what's going on prophetically. And you're going to truly grasp the concept of the rituals that they do, right? Now, I'm going to quantify this and I'm going to really break this down. Now, first and foremost, the Roman Catholic Church are sadists. The Roman Catholic Church are idolaters. They're wicked. And these Jesuits have stolen from our holy text. Now, this Pope that was elected was a Jesuit. They're calling him the first Latin Pope. And now they're on a quest for the new Pope. And we're going to talk about that because, ladies and gentlemen, the new Pope more than likely will be a black Pope. That's right, a Negro. And some of you all are wondering, well, why all of a sudden are they considering putting a black man in the office of the Pope? And we're going to talk about that as well. Let me just be very clear about this. They're going to be transferring spirits from one Pope to the next. And I want to explain this, what they do, right? First and foremost, it is called what they're doing, right? It's called the evocato ritual, an evocatio ritual, and a spirit transfer. And this is why they do everything. When you see the Pope walking around with smoke and they're burning incense and they're burning candles and they do these smoke signals to pick the Pope, they're actually doing a ritual. And we're going to go into that ritual. We're going to show you what they're doing. Right. The Pope that they're looking to get is African, right? He's an African. Now, yeah, that's a word that derives from invocation. But I know the world is mourning. They're mourning their own. But we're not. So I just wanted to show you that the world is truly mourning their own. But the truth of the matter is, we understand that they're satanic.
Okay, this is freaking me out. It is. And a lot of things about the church freak me out. But this is really scary looking to me. This is just my opinion. But it's weird. It just seems weird. Like they're glowing staffs and the hoods. Like, what is going on? It's weird. That's me. I know it's tradition, but it's freaking me out. It's scary.
Now, in case you don't know, they're doing 9 days of mourning. You know, you got the president, you got various people going to worship his body, and we're going to cover all of that. So much that's going on with this Pope death. But as you can see, ladies and gentlemen, that is a ritual. The Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 14, verse 12 says, "For the devising of idols was the beginning of spiritual fornication, and the invention of them the corruption of life." These are the number one idolaters in the world. They have corrupted life. They are responsible for spiritual fornication on the highest level known possible. The Roman Catholic Church. Now, you can't possibly look at that with discerning eyes and see anything righteous about what they're doing. It's very strange that he died on Easter. But what you must realize is they're serving the goddess Ishtar, the goddess of fertility. And so Easter being a pagan holiday, one of their high holy days, that's when a lot of their rituals are performed. And now the Pope is gone. And now they're looking to find a new one.
Rogito per il pio transito di Sua Santità Papa Francesco. Con noi, pellegrino di speranza, guida e compagno di cammino verso la grande meta alla quale siamo chiamati, il cielo, il 21 aprile dell'anno santo 2025, alle ore 7:35 del mattino, mentre la luce della Pasqua illuminava il secondo giorno dell'ottava, lunedì dell'Angelo.
Now, I want y'all to see that they're touting his dead ass body around everywhere. His body on a damn tour. Everybody's coming in, checking his dead body out, praising it, worshiping a cadaver. Now, this is the sickness that goes on in these churches. And what does the scripture say in Wisdom of Solomon 13:10? But miserable are they, and in dead things is their hope, who call them gods, which are the works of men's hands, gold and silver, to show art in and resemblance of beast, or of stone, good for nothing, the work of an ancient hand. So the scriptures condemn the worship of idols and relics. And that's what you see all in the church surrounding this man's casket. Yeah, this is extremely morbid what they're doing, but it's normacy. This goes on in the news. Why are they doing this? I'm glad y'all asked. Let's get into it. Why are they touting this man's body around? Why is it 9 days of mourning? Why are they doing these smoke rituals, which I'm going to show you, the smoke ritual for the transfer of spirits. And then we're going to talk about this new pope that they are about to, elect. In case you haven't seen this, ladies and gentlemen, ever performed, I want to show y'all something. Let me show y'all something. This is at the papal conclave. And this is how some of the ritual they show you from the outside, but they don't show you what's going on indoors because it's a lot of mystery and secrecy. But look at this.
That smoke is now coming out of the chimney. And we are holding off before making any kind of declaration because it is at night and it is raining. We want to hold off before any color will be determined.
Let's fight. That's
but
good timing.
it certainly it appears to be white. It is very much white.
Indeed.
And you can see
So
the
then
cheers.
we have a new pope.
We have a new pope, and you can hear the cheers from St. Peter's Square out there, and you can.
Now I want you to keep in mind of St. Peter's Square. I want you to keep in mind of St. Peter. You're going to keep hearing that even when, and this is old right here, but even when the recent pope just died, they had rolled him out on the Pope Mobile through St. Peter's Square. Now, y'all got to understand the St. Peter's prophecy. And this is the reason why I believe that they're going to choose the black man to be the next pope, because his name is Peter. And you know, the last pope 4 years ago, he made the first black cardinal. And he was all about revolutionizing or modernizing, rather, the office of the Pope, of Catholicism in general. It's pretty much like they're trying to Barack Obama the Roman Catholic Church, because they wanted to be more trendy. They want to, you know, get closer to the youth. And we know what the hell goes on in those churches. But it's like they want to get closer to the youth, so they're always going to use black people to do it. I'm telling you that right now. Now, let's go.
See all of those crowds that have been gathered outside waiting for that smoke to come from.
Now look at all these idols. They're waiting for that smoke. Now, what is this smoke? Some people are probably wondering, right? First of all, let me break this down. The ritual that we're looking at is called the evocatio and spirit transfer ritual. The evocatio was a Roman ritual in which a deity was ritually invited or lured to Abaddon, a besieged city, and come over to the Roman side. While this was more about transferring divine favor rather than a literal spirit, it has some spirit transfer elements. Later, occult and fictional interpretation, the idea of transferring a spirit using smoke, is more aligned with Renaissance occultism, early Christian exorcism rituals, or modern fiction and film. You'll often see the trope in horror or fantasy stories where smoke is a medium for possession and exorcism or transference. The thurible use in Catholic traditions, which developed later and absorbed some Roman ritual aesthetics, a thurible, a censer for burning incense, is used in ceremony where spirits, blessings, or sanctifications are invoked. The symbol use of smoke as a spiritual vehicle persists there. So, yes, evocatio is the word, yes. And it's a spirit transfer where they're basically transferring the spirit from one pope to the next. And this is what the whole smoke thing is about. And brothers and sisters, these people really believe this stuff. These are warlocks. These are wizards. This is what they do. And it's not by chance that the Pope died when he died. It's all planned. It's all planned, ladies and gentlemen. Now, let's continue. Let's continue.
From St. Peter's, from inside the Sistine Chapel.
Now, St. Peter's inside the 16 Chapel. This is what they're doing. Not right now, but they're going to be doing that the day of the, new election of the next pope. After the 9 days of mourning, they're going to find another pope, and more than likely he will be a black man. We'll be talking about that soon.
Let's listen in as the crowd is reacting.
Now, brothers and sisters, you got to understand, nothing about this is of the Most High. This is all demented and evil practices. This is all idolatry. The scriptures tell you in Baruch, chapter 6, verse 3, now you shall see in Babylon gold and silver, and of gold and of wood, borne upon shoulders, which cause the nations to fear. Beware, therefore, that ye in no wise be like to strangers, neither be ye afraid of them. These people would use this sorcery and magic to actually put the children of light in fear through their witchcraft, sorcery, and magic. Now, I want to show y'all something else, right? I'm not sure if you all are aware of this, but there's a book called Prophecy of the Popes. And in Prophecy of the Popes, they prophesied that Pope Francis, well, let me say it this way. They prophesied that it'll be 113th popes. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Pope Francis was the 112th pope. So in the Prophecy of the Pope's book, they claim that the next pope is the last pope to be in office or whatever, in church, whatever you want to call it, before Christ returns, which we don't know when Christ is going to return. No man know the day nor hour, but they believe that the end of the world would come after the next pope. And the interesting part about it is called the prophecy of St. Peter. Now I want to show you who they're considering becoming the next pope. Hold on, let me pull this up because this is very important. Who they're considering to be the next pope. All right, let me put this in one moment. And ladies and gentlemen, hit the like button on your way in if you're just joining. I'm going to share my screen with you all. Thank you for the contribution. I appreciate it. Somebody said, do you believe another pope will be erected? Yes, and I believe it more than likely will be the last pope based on what they believe. Let's go. African Catholics back first black pope in modern times.
At this church in Ivory Coast, some African Catholics are hoping that one of their own could become the first black pope in modern history. Among them, Jean-Luc Guibert. He says his greatest wish is for the next pope to be a black man. And if not, then a white man who is truly a leader. However, while some African contenders' names have been circulating, Vatican insiders are skeptical that any of them have a realistic chance. That's partly because none have been subjected to the same level of public scrutiny as most Western cardinals. And that is a potential concern.
Well, Pope Francis, he changed the trajectory of all of that. I'm going to show you who they're considering now, because that's a little bit of an older video right there. Let me show you who they are considering being the next pope out of the selections they have. And I believe they will choose a black pope. And that will be our first black pope. Because again, our pope, the pope that just passed, not our pope, no, that devil that just passed, he already elected a black cardinal 4 years ago. Let's see. One moment. Let's pull this up here because I want to show you all. Here we go. This is the one I was looking for. Let's go. All right.
And on to our final story for today. History could be in the making in the Vatican as speculation grows over who might be the next leader of the Catholic Church. Across Africa, prayers are currently being offered for Pope Francis. The pontiff passed away yesterday at the age of 88. He was battling health complications and recently suffered bouts of pneumonia. It was confirmed that he died from a stroke and irreversible cardiocirculatory arrest. As the world mourns, Africa finds itself both grieving and watching with anticipation. there's a possibility that the world might get the first Black African Pope after centuries. Africa is home to nearly 270.
Now, I just want you to understand what this is right now. What they're doing essentially is putting Africa under more spiritual depravity. What they're doing is spiritually fornicating, making Africa spiritually fornicate. You know, with all that's going on in the world, they're buying time by blinding the minds of the African people. The people who are there, you know, they're getting them caught up in idolatry. And this is a move that the world powers have to make. This is a move that they have to make to keep Africa from waking up. Because when Africa wake up, Babylon is going to go through it. And so right now, they're reinserting themselves in a spiritual way. And so you got to understand, this is spiritual warfare, y'all. This is spiritual warfare. They want people from the diaspora to be spiritually fornicating with the idols of Rome. You know, this is what the Roman Empire does. I'm telling y'all. Now, I want to show y'all something. I'm actually go to a scripture here. And we're going to Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 14, verse 27. And it reads, "For the worshiping of idols, not to be named in the beginning, the cause and the end of all evil." So paganism is linked to idol worship, which is the root to all societal evils. That's what this scripture is saying, that paganism is the root through idolatry. It is the root to all societal evils. And that's what they're trying to do to Africa, because they don't want Africa to wake up. We're talking about the place that is the origin of all world religions. Africa is the origin of all world religions. And now, because they need Africa's spiritual acumen and fortitude, they're going to more than likely, ladies and gentlemen, elect a Black Pope. And of course, you heard it here first. No, they haven't chosen him yet, but I believe that that's the move that they're going to make. And Africa needs to wake up. Africa needs to wake up. You don't want that position. That is the Romans spiritually usurping authority over you. I'm telling you right now, man, this is crazy. But the guy that they have in mind, his name is Peter. Let me see. Let me look this guy's name up. I believe the Black Pope Peter. Let me see. Peter Turkson. He's from Ghana, a charismatic peacemaker among the short list of the next Pope in Ghanaian Cardinal Peter Turkson, for long-term Archbishop of Cape Coast, moved to Rome in 2009, where he became president of the Pontifical Council of Justice and Peace. So he's a Ghanaian. More than likely, he's an Israelite. But they're going to use this guy, sort of like they used Barack Obama. And they're going to transfer the same spirits from the last Pope and their demonic rituals that they got going on. Let's go.
22 million Catholics. It accounts for nearly a fifth of the global Catholic population. And yet, for centuries, the Church's leadership has been dominated by Europe. In his decades of papacy, the Pope Francis began to change that shift, lifting African voices. He appointed more African cardinals and often reminded the Vatican of its responsibility to the global South. Now, in his passing, the depth of mourning in Africa is immense. Nigerian President Bola Tinubu described him as a quote-unquote tireless champion of the poor. South Africa's President Ramaphosa said his worldview on inclusion, and other African leaders echoed a similar sentiment. It's in that spirit.
Now, see, this idolatry right here is why our people get trapped in poverty. You know what I'm saying? These idol gods are not going to get you out of poverty. Y'all going to have to turn to the Most High, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Because that position is only going to spiritually condemn Africa more. First Maccabees 1:43 says, yea, many also of the Israelites consented to his religion and sacrificed unto idols and profaned the Sabbaths. That means a lot of our people, even back then, conformed to pagan customs, which was adopted in the Christian church. It was just, when are we going to get tired of this spiritual fornication? Of these demonic impositions? The Roman Catholics are evil. Let's go.
That the name of Cardinal Peter Turkson of Ghana has emerged as a serious contender to succeed.
Peter Turkson, that's who they're trying to make the next pope.
Pope Francis. If chosen, he would become the first black pope in modern times, and also only the second African in church history. Turkson rose in the Vatican circles over the years. He has spoken out on poverty, climate change, and inequality. He is a staunch defender of traditional church teachings, and at the same time has shown openness to evolving conversations.
And this is a way to get usins to be more interested in, being Roman Catholics. Let's go.
Turkson has challenged Africa's harsh LGBTQ plus laws. And when Pope Francis sought a heavy hand...
Y'all hear that? He challenged the LGBT plus laws. This is the Barack Obama. This is the Barack Obama of the Roman Catholic Church. It's like they always use a black man to usher out all the filth and debauchery. See, because, listen, these cardinals, these priests, they're tired of hiding what they're doing behind the scenes. They want to be out with it. They're tired of doing what they're doing with these, boy, don't get me started. They want to bring it out. They always use our people to do it. So now they want to put a black face in there that is going to fight against, the letter agenda. Now, I thought they were supposed to be of the truth. I thought they were supposed to be of the Bible. The Bible says a man and a man don't belong together. A woman and a woman don't belong together. Yeah, because he can be an scapegoat. This is what the Romans do. This is what they've been doing. Let's go.
In conflict-ridden South Sudan, it was Turkson who was sent. He was seen both as a spiritual man and a diplomat. Other names who are in contention are Cardinal Fridolin Mbongo Basungu. The 65-year-old is from the Democratic Republic of Congo. He leads 7 million Catholics in local church and is a revered voice among people in the African nation. For Africa, a black pope would mean a lot of things. It would mean diversity, representation, and recognition. For now, candles continue to burn in chapels. The mourning is real.
So you got our people out in Africa mourning the Pope, wanting that position. And we wonder why Babylon always keeps its authority over the world. They're doing it from a spiritual vantage point. They're doing it from a religious vantage point. And now you got Africa They just want a position. And see, a lot of people don't understand that that's the biggest control and power that they have over the people. It's through religion. It's through the church. It's through idolatry. Because they're doing nothing but putting curses out there. In the prophecy of the popes, they told you that it'll be 112 popes. 113. Well, Pope Francis was 112. So they're going to put it in the hands of a West African. And they believe he's the last pope. Because I'm going to tell y'all right now, they've had our relics anyway. They already knew that Mary was black, Christ is black, all of that. They've been actually worshiping the Black Madonna on the low this whole entire time. They already knew that our people are the holy people. They've been knew. That's right. G. Cole says all roads lead to Rome, don't it? Let's go.
But there is also a steady hope that the world's next pontiff might come from Africa.
Greeting you with aloha and namaste.
I love India.
Presence, occupation of a territory by another country pertains to India. What we saw in Kashmir.
How do you see Trump's America?
Yes, the current.
Let's go. Hold on. Sorry about that. Let's go to our next source here. I'm telling you, man. Yep, they're about to have an African pope. But see, it was a whole ritual to get this pope. Got to understand the Easter ritual. Let's talk about it. Let me show y'all another source here. Let's go.
On the air with breaking news this morning, Pope Francis has passed away. The Vatican made the announcement just moments ago, saying the 88-year-old Bishop of Rome has returned to the house of the Father. Just yesterday, Francis made a surprise public appearance to bless thousands of people in St. Peter's Square. He then drove through the piazza on the so-called Pope Mobile. Francis also met with Vice President J.D. Vance over the weekend. The Pope had been critical, of course, of the Trump administration and its mass deportation efforts, as Francis was an advocate for migrants. The Pope had been recovering, though, from pneumonia. He was in the hospital for 5 weeks and was discharged less than a month ago. Claudio, can you take us to where you are? What is the reaction in Vatican City to this news just one day after Easter celebrations there?
First of all, it's Easter Monday, so it's still holiday here. Pilgrims, there's a lot of pilgrims here that will have come here anyway, but certainly there's a lot of people who are coming here to pray for Pope Francis after they learned the news that literally just came in a couple of hours ago. As you said, I was here 24 hours ago to report on the Easter Sunday celebrations, and people here were ecstatic to see Pope Francis, who was not scheduled to appear, to make that surprise appearance on that central balcony in St. Peter's Basilica. He looked frail, as he's looked lately, but at the same time, he was not wearing those nasal tubes that he has been using since he left hospital to help him get that intake of oxygen that he needs. So we took that as a sign that his health was improving. Also, he managed to say only a few words. He wished everyone happy Easter, and then he could barely move. So he just imparted a blessing with his hands as well. But another sign that we really thought his health was improving was that he got onto the Pope Mobile to tour St. Peter's Square and this area as well to greet the ecstatic pilgrims here. And
I'm going to tell you this right now. They more than likely sacrificed him. It was his time. It was a high holy day. And they said, you know what? We got to do this at a certain time. And Easter was the day. This is how this stuff works, ladies and gentlemen. They really be sacrificing these popes because the numerology and the gematria has to add up too. This is the way of the pagan. Now, this is how they choose the next pope. I want to show y'all this real quick.
The process of selecting a new pope is a fascinating blend of tradition and secrecy. It all begins with the papal conclave, where cardinals under 80 gather in the Sistine Chapel, cut off from the outside world. With 135 voting cardinals, a two-thirds majority is needed to elect a new leader. Before the voting starts, they attend a special mass and take oaths of secrecy. The voting itself is silent and solemn, with each cardinal casting their ballot in a chalice-like plate. After each round, the ballots are burned. If no pope is chosen, black smoke signals the ongoing deliberations. But when a decision is reached, white smoke billows out, announcing to the world, Habemus Papam. The new pope is then asked if he accepts the election and what name he will take. After donning white papal vestments in the Room of Tears, he steps out to the balcony of St. Peter's Basilica, marking the beginning of a new era for.
You see, that's what they do. These smoke rituals. And the Romans have always done this. And it's for the transferal of the next pope. As y'all can see, man, this stuff is real. It's spiritual fornication on another level. And now Africa wants to be involved. You know, more than likely, that's going to be the last pope. A lot of people was asking me about what I thought about it, about, you know, the pope's death. Listen, it was a ritual, and we're seeing it. We seeing exactly what direction they're taking. They're trying to use this Ghanaian pope by the name of Peter Turkskov. I think that's his name. Anyway, they're trying to use him to pretty much modernize the office of a pope, and it's to create more evil. More evil, man. Stray away from idolatry. It is what it is, ladies and gentlemen. I didn't want to stream live real long. Just wanted to put this information out there for you all. You know, thank y'all for liking, comment, sharing, subscribing. Y'all have a blessed one. Shalom and peace.